And this is it.
That is
Like,
it.
like.
Really, stop. That is it. uh,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Student Conundrum. In today's episode, we're gonna discuss, well, with our experience, with our knowledge, and with our research, everything that is related to the international students debacle. Today, with me, four international students. We're four.
we are four. You're one of us.
Yeah, and I'm gonna guide you through this uh, discussion, and I want you to talk with your truth in an ethical way.
Be honest. Yeah, we have to be honest, but
Yep. So, well, the first thing that comes to my mind when we're talking about the sudden debacle, it's which issues did you face in this position?
oh, issues that I faced were let's talk about after I directly landed over here. I did not have accommodation for almost a month. So right when I reached Canada, now I was in Toronto for like 3 days, 4 days. But then immediately after that, when I came to Sarnia, the issue was I don't know anyone, and neither can I trust Facebook Marketplace for locations and accommodation. And basically, it's new. I can't trust anyone, right? I do not know what's the protocol, what apps, what websites I used. So for almost a month, I did not have accommodation, and I had to stay in a lodge. Now, the college had a tie-up with the lodge, so it was relatively cheaper, but still it was very expensive. That 1 month I spent a lot.
Yeah, there are issues. For example, I don't know if you both of you have faced something like academic struggles because it's different the education in our own countries, or maybe something related to mental health, right? You have any comment, any thought on that?
Language barrier is the another issue, right? Many students come from the non-English speaking country, right? So I think they face language barrier. That they like they need to uh, pass the IELTS exam or something like proficiency test, but still there is some kind of uh, what to say like gap.
It's like a barrier,
Yeah,
is what.
it's barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, for example, for me as a Spanish uh, talker, it was really hard for me realize that everything was going to be in English, right? So
Yeah.
that was the first issue that I had when I landed here. I went to this en route while I was coming here, and the guy was telling me something, and it was hard for me to switch and understand that if I want to communicate, I have to talk in English. I need to understand that. So that was a really, really hard for me when I started my first lessons here because you need to switch. And it depends on how you can adapt to these changes, right?
Yeah.
So another point that I think that could be an issue, it's the work, finding a job,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Kristen?
Just to give you a background, I was supposed to be here on 2023, but then because it was delayed due to medical reasons, um I started fall 2024. So during that time, the cost of living and the tuition fee here in Sarnia um rise up. So I was hoping that I could cope up with it but then it's hard for me to get a part-time job. Probably because I'm also pregnant during that time, but still, the recruiters say when um I was planning to come here that it's easy to get a job. Some says that it's easy to get um permanent resident later on, and then even Canadian citizenship. But um, it it's not that easy really. Um, I also encounter some students who are working. Um, they work long hours, even on weekends, just to support themselves, and then to the point that it somehow go beyond what is
Allowed.
allowed, which is
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. For us as students, I think it's 24 hours. And some students unknowingly, obviously, are not always tracking the time. Unknowingly, you go beyond, and the employer cannot pay you because it's illegal. Then,
What you were talking about that you applied for 2023, that take us to the next point that I want to discuss. That it's all the punitive actions. What was the change that you can see from when you apply and from when you were here?
Yeah, since I'll be starting on September 2024, the first thing is the I was enrolled in Mississauga, Lambton, Mississauga before, but then due to the changes that IRCC said, any private school that is in private public partnership with Lambton will not be eligible for PGWP, or the postgraduate work permit. So I have no choice. I should choose either Sarnia or Ottawa. So since my budget is tight, I choose Sarnia. Then
Yeah, but in some way, your budget was reduced, right?
uh-huh.
But wouldn't you think that in Ottawa you may find more job opportunities? Wouldn't you think that one thing will compensate the other one?
Mm, I hoped, because they say Sarnia still has work. You just have to be not picky about it. But then I tried, and probably because of the schedule here in school, and some jobs require at least all mornings that you have to be available. But sometimes during our schedule in the first term, it's sometimes morning, sometimes in the
yeah,
afternoon.
it get changing. And the thing is that for us in the first term, we all lived through it, right? In the first block before the reading week and second block after the reading week, it your schedule changes, and we never know what is going to be next. And then in term 2, when we came, there were extra classes which just kept on derailing your schedule. Like, finally I got in a hang on the scheduling, but then something or the other kept coming up, and that's why my shifts are very limited to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just because that's when I can take them. Yep. It's sad, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Well, for example, for me, punitive actions that really affect me was that I got this plan with my family. We were coming all together. But with those changes that happened in January 2024,
Cool. Yeah.
yep, we couldn't make it all together. So it was this big decision. Eh, what is the main goal of that, right? So we decided that I will come here alone, right? Said everything for them to come after that.
After your graduation,
Yeah, yeah. Well, right now with all the changes, there is a big uncertainty, right?
you mentioned family. So what happened with me was that my brother flew in December 2023 for the winter intake in 2024. So his was going to start in Jan. For that, now for Indian citizens, when we come to Canada, one of the issues that not an issue, it's like a requirement that we need to invest into a GIC. All right, a Canadian GIC that runs for a year. They'll pay you back every single month for a year. You know how GIC works, right? So until Jan 2024. So any applicant for the visa had to pay $10,000 for their GIC. Now, obviously, you get it back over time, but after Jan 2024, which is when I had to apply, I had to pay 20,000. Immediate double, and it's quite drastic because uh, we had to plan 1 year in advance, and you keep the finances aside, right? And that one jump just derailed my entire plan on even coming over here. Like we had to think it at least twice or thrice, just because it's like $10,000.
So you think some way, I'll throw this question, the one who wants to answer, think that, for example, this punitive action made a big impact on what they wanted. That was a cap. There is a reduction of student visa applicants.
Yeah,
You think that it is
this year wanted to curb it. They wanted to curb the numbers of student visas.
Yeah, because the student goes up or went up to 1 million. Yeah,
Yeah. In our lives,
it was so
after the COVID, the student coming here is skyrocketed, right?
Yeah, everything skyrocketed by COVID just because I remember that during the COVID, the PR points had reduced.
Yeah.
So, what is happening is now immigrants who are already over here who have gotten PRs now, they have understood that it's easy, and they are told their friends and family back home in their country, and now that has encouraged them to come over. So that's what happened.
the question that comes to my mind regarding the ethical view of this? You think that transparency and fairness are attached into these punitive actions?
I think there is like I cannot just directly assign blame to any party. Like I cannot assign blame to the students. I cannot assign blame to the college. I cannot assign blame to the immigration and the government, because I think everyone had a role to play in this long drawn out battle against the unskilled immigrants. I think that is the major issue. As for me, I think that is the major issue that the government is trying to tackle, and that's why they're curbing student visas on industries which are not required. Like at one point, colleges started uh, turning into diploma mills
Yeah.
just because they can offer the same course for hire for international students, and once they graduate, there's no job waiting for them. Their studies are not used. They just use the study route. Students, on the other hand, like they are not completely transparent with their intentions of what is happening, why they took the course, and sometimes they take a course that is not even remotely linked to their career. So the students are to blame. And then from the government side, they did not have they did not have proper screening of immigrants. So I think that there are multiple root causes to that problem.
So, if I
You know?
understand your point, you're talking that maybe there is an ethical responsibility on the recruitment process.
Yes, yes. And I think it starts at the age, right?
Yeah. Agent, campus, government, yeah,
Yeah.
and student itself. Everyone has have to take responsible, right?
So that will take us to the next point that I wanted to discuss. That is the root cause analysis, right? Dilly, what are your thoughts?
If we talk about the number of students coming here, that's the issue right now, right? They're trying to regulate it by like forcing some regulation on the student who are already here. But the root cause, they are not regulating the uh, immigration process who are coming here. That is very like what to say. It is like unregulated. Every student can come here easily, and like they are not, is Alun said, not screening the process before coming here, and after student have some expectation after coming here, right? They have expectation to earn money and sustain here, but they are allowing the many student to come here, but uh, after coming here, they are not like providing the employment.
Okay, so if we go deeper into this root cause analysis, we can get into this big concept that is ethical universalism, right? So I want to make a entire view or where I want you to go. We need to find the first person into this student debacle, right? That has to be the student, the applicant, right?
Yeah. It starts from there, right?
So
Yeah.
if we go with an ethical universalism, you need to uh, practice that the good of the common, right, has be the primary focus on your decisions, right? So there you can put another factor, as we spoke before, that is the agency, the recruitment, maybe not only the agent, but the recruitment, because it's a business, right?
Here's like a fact. It may not go in the flow of conversation which we are trying to get to, but a fact about these agents, that these agents operate for free. All right. I know at least 3 to 4 agents in India, in my own locality. They operated for free. Their only job was to get applicants to a college that they tied up with. So when they tie up with a college, the number of applicants that the agent provides, they get a commission.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that is also one of the root causes for, skyrocketing
Yeah.
immigrations and skyrocketing students, and then like the government had no control over it because uh, the colleges wanted to have more profits. Definitely, it's a business. And then that led to hiring agents who did this, and then it just became like a repeat cycle. Is that the same in Philippines?
It depends because there are a lot of agencies as well in the Philippines. So it depends on who you choose. Me personally, I also asked help from agency, but I made sure that I researched about it. And someone that I know, actually my aunt, uh also hired that agency in order to come here. Only by the time that she was able to come here in Canada that I also hired the same agency. So I think that the one thing that
So you're
should
you're putting something important in the table, that it's the personal research, individual research.
Yes, that's actually
Right?
major. The girl, which is a student. Yeah.
For example, when you're going to buy a new cell phone,
Mm.
what do you do?
You find out everything. You see at least 6 to 7 reviews online.
All of you, the first thing that you look for is the specification.
Yeah.
Right?
The specification sheet. Yes.
Then what you do? You do a comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Which one is better for me? The Samsung Galaxy S25, S25 Plus, etc. Or you want a knife.
you also look for feedbacks.
Yeah, and actually the funniest thing is the reviews on Amazon, on which is another famous site to buy. Because I was just going to say Flipkart, but that's Indian. It's
Alibaba, but Alibaba,
yeah, Best Buy,
eBay.
eBay,
Yeah.
and I think eBay is more secondhand. But coming back to the topic, you check all these sources and you're influenced by these reviews, right? So yet again, the student, when they're doing the research, whom are they getting their ideas and reviews from? Is it someone who's already in Canada? Is it their agent who's telling them? Is it the information they're getting online through a blog or through a YouTube video or a close friend of theirs who has gone through a process, or a close friend's friend who has gone through the process?
And that takes us to a question. Is more important a cell phone than your future?
Dude, I kid you not. A few of these agents will do everything for the student, and the student does not even know what they're doing.
Yeah. And you will keep hearing in all the classes that we have My agent told me this was the best for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does someone else decide? Like, okay, it's fine. You can take suggestions, definitely, but do your own research. That's your core, right? It's gonna affect you. Do your research.
So to be on the same page, there is an environment, right? And the environment tells you this is what you want. This is what you want. This is what you want, right? And you go as a ship and do what everything says, right? So then we're facing an ethical issue. For example, in social media, Colombia, you may always find an advertisement that says Canada is looking for people. They need workers. They need engineers. They need doctors. They need psychologists. They need teachers.
IRCC says we don't need any of this. Here is a list. We need them. I don't know what your advertisement told you. Yeah, it has a list. It has a list. They recently launched it.
I think if we go deeper into the root cause, is that uh, our minds are square, right? We don't go beyond those bonded bonds that we have, right? And we just stay with what social media says. And there is a lot of videos that people says Canada is not the answer to your problems. Canada is not a real dream, right?
Oh, I have an experience in marketing, right? So I'll tell you this fun little thing. It's related to the social media thing, the marketing that you said, is that it's called the bandwagon effect that marketers as us have to study, because it's like if you can get a group of people to believe it, they will spread the word, and your product that you're marketing or the services you're marketing just catches on faster. So you just target like 4 people. Let's say in this room, I will target all 4 of us, and we go out and we talk to our people and we spread it. It's called the bandwagon effect. They will follow it just because they trust you, and so it grows and multiplies, right? So, fun fact about the bandwagon effect and the ideologies that's like surround it. In December 2023, all of 2023, basically, when I was doing my process, Canada is the dream. I used to hear it all across. Okay, Canada is the dream. Oh, life over here is so good. Maybe you'll not like the winter, but you'll get so much money. That the registration, the application process is so simple. The government is so supportive. Yeah, taxes are high, but so it was very pro immigration. You know, in Jan after the conference, it was like, no, Canada is not. There is no future. I was like, within a month, they did not even post this officially on the government website. They just had a press conference. They released it, and immediately, and people's ideas just changed. So I think that even when the student is researching, coming back to the same point, when they're researching, there's a very good chance that they'll be susceptible to these kinds of ideas because they're surrounded by it.
Yep. And that guide us toward another point that is the lack of awareness and supporting system, right? Yep. Because there is no reliability on social media, right?
Everything can be created. And AI, man,
Yeah.
everything can be created.
So what do you think about that lack of supporting systems, right? You face it that you couldn't find an accommodation,
Yes.
and I think that affect your budget really.
Oh, yes. It hit my budget horribly. And then after that, I had to face an issue with a bad landlord. It again hit my budget. So this was back to back. Things are just hitting my budget, and I still did not get my second installment of my GIC. So it was just attacking me right from where I stepped foot into the country. Now, definitely, I think part of the issue is also on me because I did not do my research on the accommodation. That's on me. That's on me. I did not do a background check on the landlord. That's on me. But I had to face that lashback, and that was my reality. The new students who are coming do not know this reality. They just know the idea.
For this all problem, everyone has everyone has their responsibility, right? Like for this issue, uh, college and institutes and those recruiting agencies have like some kind of tie-up, yeah, for the bonus, and college creating
They're creating
programs that does even
does not
doesn't need, doesn't lead to the future, right? uh, like you cannot get employment after completing those course. They are simply creating those courses because they want student here.
they don't even want students here. They have created online courses. They want the money that
They want
as students
and
get.
yeah,
It's a
and
business.
this agency, they are they are spreading false news, and student even they don't even research about it. They simply believe it. And they call it. So we going to, yeah, this is the
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wait.
this
If I just
and finally government is not regulating the
yeah. So let's
everyone is there in that cycle, right?
yeah. If I just try to summarize it, the government, a democracy, is formed by a social contract. Okay.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
All right. Now, a college, an institute, a university, they are a business functioning within this social contract of the government. All right. We all agree with what the government says. Now, the government had a gray area. But morally, we all know that getting continuous immigrants into the system, maybe the economy will not support it, you know? But the institutes kept that ethical problem aside and valued their own profits and opinions and beliefs above the universal ethics, you know?
You know what? I heard one of the private schools, they admitted 4,900 students, but their facility could just accommodate 420 students.
So
Yeah,
in some way,
profit.
all of those punitive actions are guiding towards the benefit of the international students that are not aware of the reality, right?
Yeah, they
They're
do
taking
not
it.
they do not know.
Yeah.
And
So
they
in
feel
some
so
way,
much.
if we go deep, because we're doing this root cause analysis,
Yeah.
eh, why do they create a list of eligible programs? What do you think? Because they are the needs of the country, right?
Yes.
They're-
So our college website just had a list of programs eligible for international students or domestic. Like when you put programs and then you get filters, right? Do you want to go into the business school? Do you want to go into the science? Do you want to go into agriculture? Do you want to go into whatsoever? But they had filters such as this. Now they've added a new filter. It's called PGWP eligible courses. And they are canceling courses which they've made up, which are not aligning with the country's goals, you know? So it's affecting the students who are in those courses right now. And there is no future for them, maybe. But then the government recently came around and said that don't worry, from November 1st onwards, all of this will come into play. But these things at the end, after uh, everything happening and all when the dust settles, it's the students that are going to suffer. The customer in this entire transaction of between his government, business, and agent and customer. So there are four parties to this. The customer is suffering, and it's kind of sad, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah. In some way, it's the way where you as an applicant will open your eyes and see it's not what they're selling you, right? If you're pursuing a dream, you need to be prepared for that, right? That will take me to the next point. Christine, what do you think should be the preventive actions that any person should take, right? I don't know if you want to take the role as an student, as a educational uh, facility, or academic institution, right?
For the government.
The government,
Or the agent.
the agent, right?
Uh, Probably I could be the government in terms of I would like to implement s- rule that will certify recruiters. There should be a certification that um, they are certified international student recruiters, so we could prevent that misinformation and that exploitation.
And you think that the measures that you are talking about, there must be a transition, or it has to be like in this way that is doing today, that it's from today to from now, this is going to be this way.
I think the government still should give a leeway, like a few weeks or a month before implementing it, so that the one that is affected could still prepare on how to deal with it.
And in an unethical thinking, what do you think an ethical person will do in that time?
If it's an ethical person,
Yeah.
I think they should check what will be the new guidelines and think of or plan on how they would be adhering to it, on how they will be following it. Just like when the PAL was mandated by the government, the schools communicated to the students. I received an email personally saying that we're still coordinating with the government, with IRCC, about their plans for how to implement the provincial attestation letter. Just be patient about it, and we'll let you know as soon as we get more information. So,
I think one of the measures that as a student, who's either in Canada or uh, planning to move over here, in the pre-conventional or at the perception, you need to do your research. You need to do your research. You need to do your own research. Christine spoke about it. Alvaro, I think you spoke about it, how there's misguided information. Delay, you spoke about it. You should do your research. I think one of the major problems that students face is because they're ill informed about what has happened. They need to understand that not everything is roses and rainbows. Sometimes a little bit of mud is involved in the process, and they need to be well prepared, because only when you're equipped with information will you be able to take preventive actions or be prepared enough. Like, for example, I faced the accommodation issue, but I was prepared enough financially to accommodate that. But I don't know, there might be someone who is not so fortunate, and unfortunately they had to face a serious financial problem because of that, because they were not prepared. So I think that a student's responsibility could majorly prevent this kind of an issue that the country is facing.
Okay, I'll yes, we are discussing about the preventive action, right?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is to control everything. There has to be like some consequence of bad activities, unethical activities, right? That will be the most effective way to control the unethical things. If government like made some kind of rule, if a college tries to tie off with the agencies, or they like created uh, program that is not contributing to the national development or employment, they will be punished, right? that if they get the higher punishment, the bad consequence of their unethical things, they will automatically control it.
Yes, I'm agree with you, Dilly. I agree with you because in some way the measures are only punishing the student.
Yeah,
As I said, right, the customers are suffering.
customer is suffering.
We have a big problem that most of the agency are not here in Canada,
Oh no, they're not.
right?
You know,
So they cannot control them, right? So we go to the main thing on this should be on how you research and how you are aware on all the chances.
no, no, what? Yeah, that's personal responsibility. I think Delhi wanted to mention that the institutes, the colleges, the universities, the academic uh, institutions, yeah, essentially, these guys should have consequences for developing courses that are not contributing to the country. Yeah. Like, it's okay if they do it, it's their business. Like, the country has no say in how you want to do your business. But if if it is affecting the country's immigration problem, then the college and the university should face consequences for not thinking of a problem that's bigger than them.
Yeah.
You know, when the college and university start thinking about themselves first, then you'll get into what we are facing right now, like the profit motive, the flooding.
In
But
some way,
yeah,
they are leaving behind their educational measure.
yeah, and they're just focusing on the money aspect. But when all the university accumulate, because these guys are kind of shaping the next generation of the country, right? So they need to be held accountable by the government.
Yeah, basically, they are focusing more on benefit rather than responsibility.
Yes.
Good thing, I don't know if you heard, the government, IRCC specifically, um, prioritize. There are some schools, they they were assessed on how they deal with the well-being of the students. That if you're included in that list of schools,
The designated learning, and she just realize. Yeah.
yeah, the designated learning institute. Thank you. So if you're including in that, that means um in terms of the PAL and letter of acceptance, your school will be prioritized to be given visas. The students who prioritize to get at this.
Yeah, but that is a good measure that has been practiced all these years. Uh, but I think there should be a consequence, like a proper business consequence. When for example, when a company goes into a scam or a scandal due to inappropriate management, they have to pay. They have to pay big money. I'm not saying the institutes need to pay money, but there should be like a consequence for them generating diploma mints, basically. Like a proper consequence, not limiting their customers.
Yeah.
That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I think there should be like a proper consequence.
Okay, so to wrap it up,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a final question, right? Eh, what is your advice for Indians, Nepalese, and Philippines?
For me, since we cannot control the government, what will the institutions do, nor the agencies or recruiters, we have no control over that. What we have control is ourselves. So we have the power to protect ourselves by um being being informed and being cautious. So you really have to do your research. You have to check the official websites, let's say the government or the institution's official websites. And of course, when you come to a new country, you have to be financially prepared, emotionally prepared, being proactive in general. So any challenge that could come, you're
You'll be able to tackle them.
yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I I agree. In India, one of the issues that many of the students face is that the agents take complete control over the entire process. I know of a few students who did not even know their IRCC GC key until they landed. Imagine they have no way to access their own process. So I think, like, I do not know how we can control the agents, but that's an unethical way of doing business, and I feel it's affecting Canada as a country from something that Canada cannot control, which is an agency operating in India, for example, right? They can't control that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what can be done, but I just think that that's an unethical practice that needs a way to stop. That's a point that I would like to conclude on. Like,
In my perspective, anyone who wants to come to Canada, I think they need to research, but from where they can get information. Ask them who doesn't like benefit from the institute, or like they do not have uh, like any benefit from the institution they are trying to go, right? If you want to right, take admission to the this institution, and somebody, their agent, is benefiting from this institution, he will obviously
promoted.
yeah, promote it. They like they, how could they give you the right or correct information? So ask them who is not benefiting from the organization or institution they are coming.
So, for a conclusion, we can say that the main responsible on this student debacle, it's the student, right?
Yes.
Because there is a lack of research, and that lack of research is enhanced by unethical agents, right? And there is no supporting systems that can help to a better decision, or maybe a better preparation for this journey, right?
Yes.
So we can say that uh, the main problems for a student and the main solution are the same students,
The
right?
main problem is this. Yeah. So you start over there.
They are the mostly affected by this, right?
Yeah. Uh, but they're also the problem, right? As
They are they are the most affected one.
yeah. So
So
he
he
is
should
right.
be most responsible.
Yes. In the entire process, they should be the same.
A way to face this situation in a good moral way, right?
Yeah.
Always facing everything with the truth, right? With maybe a social responsibility, right? And try to do good things. So, if you ask me, the main advice that I will give is do things right, be aware on those changes that are causing all of these uncertainties, and enjoy.
Yeah. And I think finally, just be transparent with any immigration officer or the government, basically, on your intentions. That's it. Just be transparent. If you're honest, trust me, things will go your way, right? So the student needs to take that responsibility of doing this.
Yep.
I
So
completely agree.
thank you all.
I would have helped.
High moral value.
Thank you all for your comments, for your research, your opinion. This is the student conundrum. It will be in another episode,
Next week.
and this is it.
That is it.